Joining me now ahead of his pro APFC debut, standing with a record of 4 wins, 1 loss, Motaz Askar. How are you feeling about a week out?
I'm feeling great, man. Getting my weight down, almost showtime. You know what I'm saying? So, a few more days till the wins, and then a few more days till the fight. So I'm excited and I'm ready to go.
How was the camp this far, this deep into it? Smooth camp for you?
Yeah, there were some things that happened, but it was a long camp, which I like. I like having a really long camp because it helps me, be in the best shape possible for whoever I'm fighting. It's been a great camp. Obviously, there's always bumps and bumps on the road throughout the camp, to any camp, but there were some throughout this one, but we got through it, and it's almost fight day.
Are you one of the guys that likes to study your opponents and really watch a lot of film on them, or do you leave that to the coaches and you try to perform come fight day?
Usually I have I'm the type of guy that kind of just like does my own fight, like I worry more about my skills than my opponent's skills, but as you go through the pro ranks, and you get more and more fights, you realize you have to start actually studying your opponent. So I did do some studying on my opponent, and as I get more of a vet in this game, I usually do, and I'm gonna start like studying more of my opponents.
What do you think of him? Where do you think he's strongest? Where do you think are some areas you can exploit?
I think he's tough. I never underestimate any of my opponents ever, but I think he's a tough dude. Very gritty guy. I think that's his style. But I think where I can expose him is him walking into some of my shots, and he's the type of guy that likes to pressure. So I'm also a guy who likes to pressure. So it's gonna be the person who is able to impose their will and push forward, But also, I believe in my skill set, and I can do like anywhere I go, I'm gonna be good. So I feel like he's gonna walk into my shots with him just trying to come forward, you know. So I think that's probably gonna be the biggest thing I can exploit in this fight.
You've got a big slot on a big card on UFC Fight Pass. Why should the fans be tuned into this bout, and why should they be excited to see you go to war next Sunday?
Oh man, the fans should definitely be ready to watch and ready to come in. Especially I'm on the main card. About to be the co-main, and man, I'm an explosive kind of fighter. I'm exciting. I have a lot of finishes, let alone in the first round. I'm put on a show, and it's gonna be exciting for everyone there, if you know me or not.
How do you see this one going? Do you see yourself finding another finish in this one? Do you just kind of see things going however they may? Is that something you like to let play out on fight day?
I always like the fight to play out. I never like to say this, that. But always the goal is always to finish. And I feel like once I get in there, a lot of people start to realize the power that I possess, the pressure that I bring, and usually a lot of people tend to break. I know this dude is pretty tough, so um, I never say like, oh, I'm gonna finish anybody, but I always feel like once I get in there and I start putting on my game and putting my skill out there for the guy, usually I'm able to find either a sub, a finish, a TKO, whatever it may be. So I do honestly do see myself getting a finish this fight. I wouldn't say what round, but I definitely feel like I'm going to find a finish one way or another. Either it's going to be on the feet or it's going to be on the ground.
What is your aspirations in this sport? Why are you doing this? What are your goals? What is the end game for you?
Man, I've been doing a sport for a long time, and I've always had the same goal since I started, and it's always gotten bigger and bigger as the time went on. I've always wanted to be in the UFC. My aspirations was always be in the UFC, but as I got older and better and all this and that, my aspirations is to become a champ in the UFC and be there. I believe that I will be in the UFC one day. It may be tomorrow, maybe in a year, few years. It's all God's will. But I do believe that I will be one of the best fighters in the world when it's all said and done.
Is the APFC championship something you're eyeing in the future on your climb up?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, any way to get to where I need to be, if that has to be the APFC featherweight champ, and if it's like that's in the way to, if that's a hurdle for me to get to where I want to be, then 100%. And it would always be an awesome thing to be. I think the first ever featherweight champ, right? And the first like champ for APFC. So I would love that.
It doesn't hurt to bring some gold home to the mantle, something we'll have to look out for in the future. Finally, man, if you had to tell your opponent one thing or say to him one thing ahead of this bout, what would it be?
Man, I'll just say, let's get it. It's gonna be a fun fight, and I hope you're ready.
Motaz Askar steps into the cage next weekend, APFC 7. We return to Hammond, Indiana. You can catch it in the co-main event on UFC Fight Pass. Motaz, thank you so much for joining us, man, and I can't wait to see you next weekend.
Thank you so much, man. I'm excited.